How goes it, Summoners? Welcome back to Total Alliance, the channel that helps you become a better Alliance member inside Marvel Contest of Champions. So before we get started, just a little of the normal stuff. If you can hit the like button, if you haven't subscribed, I'd appreciate you subscribing and turning on notifications. And feel free to leave comments. If you think I left something out, you don't agree with it, that's fine. Just make a comment. Today's topic is going to be what Alliance recruiters look for in a new Alliance member, or how you can better prepare your account to be a great Alliance member. So let's get into it. So first of all, let's talk about what an Alliance is. First of all, an alliance is a group of people that come together to achieve a common goal. So that's exactly what an MCOC alliance is. We're all after the same thing. And what is that exactly? Well, the overarching common goal is simply a better account. We want to get better rewards so that we can get better champions. We can rank up the champions we have, and we can become better players. So that's exactly what the overall goal of an alliance is. Now, inside the alliance specifically, the goals would be to run and finish monthly events, to gain rewards, to work on alliance events, those daily and weekly events that are found in the event tab. And then to win at Alliance Quest and to win at Alliance War. So those are the goals. So let's talk about what is going to make you a better Alliance member. So what do they look for? What do the leaders and officers look for when they are recruiting those Alliance members? So how you can be better at that. So the first thing, the number one thing, these are not in a real order, but the number one thing that you're going to need to have when you want to participate in a serious alliance is you're going to need to have a line account. What is a line account? Well, simply put, Line is an app, much like, say, WhatsApp. Line is an app that allows you to text people all over the world without having to share your phone number. And that's a big deal. We don't know most of the people that we play with online. We've never met them, and while we just don't want to share our phone number, so it's a security thing. So Line is great at allowing us to get together and chat. It also allows us to set up group chats and invite lots of people in, so that we can disseminate alliance information without having to jump through 20 or 30 individual chat windows to spread that information. So like I said, it's a Line app. Line app is available for Android phones. It's available for iOS phones. It's also available for the Mac OS, and it's available on Windows. So you can have an account on any or all of those. But what you can't have is you can't have two different Line accounts on the same device, whether it is a phone or a computer or a tablet. You can only have one Line account on each device. So how do you get the Line app? Well, the first thing is you go to your app store on your device, or you can click on the link in the description and it'll take you to a web page, which then will link you to that same app store, however you want to get there. So let's take a look at that. So if you look at this app store scene I've got here going on, this is on a Mac OS. So I would go up here to the search bar and I would just type in Line app and hit enter. And there it is. That very first one that you see is indeed the app you want. So look at that, the Line social networking. No matter which OS you're dealing with, the icon looks the same, so make sure you install that one. More about Line app will be covered in a different video, so look on the channel. It's either there or it will be soon. I'll walk you through how to install it, how to set it up, and some etiquette rules about Line app, so you can check that out. So just so you get a quick look, this is what the line conversation window looks like. You'll see that here there's a personal, I have a PM, what we call personal messaging or direct messaging with someone, but the rest of these are all rooms, or a lot of them are rooms. This is our Alliance's main chat room. You'll see we have an officer chat. We have chats for each individual AQB battle group, and same thing with war battle groups. So that's a lot of alliances do that. So that's the benefit of Alliance. So we'll move on from there. So the first thing is you'll need that line account. So get that set up, and then you can get serious about looking for an ally, alliance. So the second thing is, and this is not a deal breaker by any means, but a lot of alliances look for people that are in time zones that are the same or close to the ones that they have. And a lot of alliances feel like if everybody is within a couple of hours of each other, it makes it really easy to coordinate their movements in war and alliance quest. So in other words, you'll have people, all the people from the United States are in an alliance, or Europeans have formed an alliance, or Asians, or what have you. But on the other hand, that's not always true. There's some strategy in having people that are on in one time zone that's the opposite of the others. So in other words, in our alliance, we have some Greeks, we have some guys from Sweden, and so while we're playing, they're asleep, and while we're asleep, they're playing. And so it's a unique way and a strategy of running your alliance. So just be aware of that, that some people are looking for time zones. The next thing that we want to look at and is a requirement is going to be the HR, the total hero rating of your account, or the prestige of your account. So if we go here, if you'll tap on your name at the very top in the center, it's going to open up the summoner profile, and we'll take a look at it. You'll see here right where I'm circling, that tells me the number of champs that I have, and this is my total base hero rating. And so this is important because there are times you'll run across accounts that have a disproportionate of heroes to hero rating, and the reason often the reason that is because that particular person has been selling champs. And a general rule in MCOC is never sell your champs. Now that I've said that, I want to make clear that we don't mean that you never, ever, ever sell your champs, just that it's not a good idea. We'll cover that in a different video, but there are benefits to keeping those champs. You gain stuff every time every time that you dupe it. You're going to gain some rewards. And if you sell your champ, you lose that opportunity until you draw the champ again. And the gains that you get are very short term. So just keep that in mind, that that's why we say don't sell champs. So that's interesting to us. We want to see that you have a proportionate number of champions to your base hero rating. For instance, I've known people that didn't know better, and they sold all of their 2 stars and 3 stars once they had 4 or 5 4 stars. And now that their account is completely lopsided. Doesn't mean that they're not a good player, but they certainly don't have the breadth of roster that they need to have in order to accomplish all the goals. So just keep that in mind. Going back to the topic of prestige, though, Alliance recruiters are looking for your prestige, and prestige is figured in this way. So we'll go to the champion screen, and let me take a photo of this, and I can write on this screen now. So the way it works is prestige is an average of the PI, or the HR, individual champ HR, of your top 5 champions. So here you see I put a bracket around my top 5. So in essence, you would add all of these PIs together, divide by 5, and that would be your PI. Well, it would be if it were that simple, and it's not. Because masteries, if you've never noticed, masteries affect your hero's individual PI. And so in figuring your account PI, we don't want to take masteries into account because there are a million different mastery setups. What we want to know is what is your base PI. And there are several ways to figure that, several sites, some bots to figure it for you. But I will link that in the description below, a site where you can go to and quickly figure up your PI. So once you figure up your PI, you can have an idea of what other people are going to feel about your account. So if your PI is 2,000, keep building, because that's not excellent. If your PI is 7,000, that's much better. So the higher the better, like most things. So the first one is alignment line account. The second one, taking into account your time zone. The third thing people look at is your total hero rating and your account prestige. So the fourth thing, the fourth thing we talked about was your HR versus your champs owned. And now let's move on to the fifth thing, which is your player stats. So let me back out of this, and we'll go back up to our summoner profile and take a look here. So we've already discussed base number of heroes and base hero rating, so let's look at the rest of your player stats on this page. So the first thing we're going to look at is we're interested in what your top 4 champs are. And what is their starage? Are they awakened or not? What is their individual PI? What's their rank and level? So we're going to look at all of that. So that kind of gives us an idea of where your account sits, right? It's not perfect, but it is a good way to focus and to clarify what's going on with you. So after that, we're going to scroll down, and we've got the dual stats section. Now, dual stats aren't that important anymore. They were for a while. Because there were alliance events based on dueling, but that has gone by the wayside this past 6 months or so, and there's no indication that Kabam is bringing it back. So until then, duels are just not that important. But we'll talk more about duels in another video, because they do still have some value. So then we're going to come down here to this first one, which is Alliance War MVP. Now, if you've never been in an alliance before, it's going to be 0. If you've been in an alliance and you've never been one of the VPs, then obviously it's still 0. So this is not a deal breaker statistic. It's not something that keeps most of us from going ahead and bringing on board a new ally member. But it's certainly, if it's there, it helps boosts your possibility of getting in. So if you're going to play war, play hard and play well so that you can be an MVP. The next one is total quests completed. Actually, the next 3 kind of go together. Total quests completed, daily quests completed, quest fights won. So those 3 numbers are tell us how involved you've been and what you're doing. So just keep that in mind. Like any of those numbers, the higher the better. So keep fighting, and those numbers will go up. The last 2 are labeled PvP. PvP fights won and highest PvP win streak. Now, if you don't know what PvP is, it stands for player versus player. But specifically, this has to do with arena wins. And if you don't know what the arena is, it can be confusing, because inside the game it's actually not called the arena, it's called versus. So go to your versus area under your event fights, and you'll see some things you can do, and all of this is tied to that. So this tells us how active you are in arena and what your win streak is. Speaking to win streak, if you've played in the arena, you know it's tough to get a big win streak up. Matter of fact, you'll find 100 videos out there, if you look, on how to establish an infinite streak in the arena, and but you got to have a fat roster, and you have got to fight smart. And you can get, I've seen people that get their PvP win streaks to the 200 and 300 mark in a row. So that's 300 rounds, not just fights, but actual, you've won, 200 to 300 rounds in a row. So that's what that is. And those two numbers are not deal breakers either. They're just inform us about where you're active. So the last thing on this screen, surprisingly enough, that's important is the titles area. So we'll click on this and look at the titles you see there. So the titles themselves are not important. We're not really concerned with what titles you have. We're concerned with what they represent. So the only way to get a title is to accomplish something. And in almost every case, titles are given out by accomplishing 100% exploration of a monthly quest. So as you know, each month the game is updated, a new monthly quest is introduced, and we want to see that you persevered through the whole quest. So you get a title for beginner, normal, and heroic. Those are all three the same title. So if you 100% complete all three levels, you still only get one title. And then above that are usually Master and Epic, or Master and Uncollected, depending on what they're calling it that month. And those two offer a different title. So again, we like to see a lot of titles because that shows us that you're active and that you're dedicated, that you actually do more than just log in to complete your or to get your calendar rewards. So titles are important. Do not dismiss them, but be aware that we're looking for 100% completion of these event quests. So that's about it. Those are the basic things that we look for when we're looking for an alliance member. If you found if this was useful for you, I'd appreciate that like, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications. Please leave a comment if you think that I missed something that's important, or if you just totally don't agree, or you do agree. I'd like to hear about it. So do that, and appreciate your time, and hope to see you in the next one.